water, so.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Guys, and we're live!
Oh, are we alive? Did we do it? Did we succeed in the YouTube?
Yes, we are live. Welcome.
Yay. I like
my God.
being live.
That is amazing.
All right, let me make the announcement again.
Oh my god. OBS, why do you hate me? I had it all set up and it just has this one freaking problem.
OBS is just like, no, don't,
No.
not allowed.
You can't have
No.
nice things the first time.
Streaming today? I don't think so.
Streaming.
Oh,
no,
the
streaming today,
title-
That's not a thing.
Guys, the title's wrong.
Oh,
I set the title! Why? Why do you do this to me?
Why? OBS hates us.
OBS royally hates us.
Okay.
In future, we're just gonna need someone just like give Brian the credentials, please. Just let's
Yeah.
make all of our lives easier.
Let me all right. While we're doing this, let me just very quickly message Tina while she is streaming.
Say,
channel.
hey, OBS Streamlabs keeps telling me that I can get bent. Please help.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about this, everybody. Let me just grab this.
Yay.
One
Hey,
update comes through, and I don't use this program for 4 months, and suddenly it decides it's not going to cooperate.
It wouldn't be a Ruby Talk podcast.
It wouldn't be a Ruby
Podcast
Talk
if we didn't
podcast
have-
if it wasn't a train wreck. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
we don't
right,
have
though.
technical difficulties.
We usually save that for, I don't know, introducing ourselves, not getting live.
Dang.
Hey, you know, we can mess that up too, Ian. Should we maybe do that then?
Yeah, I'm messaging Tina right now. So how are you guys?
You know, Brian, it's been a pretty good day. I've been vibing, you know.
I'd be doing better if OBS didn't give me a heart attack every week.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good point.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
And to answer your question, Mr. Pair of Eyeballs in the chat, I am the one that's falling in love with all of my anime boys. Oh, how the list goes on. There's Ryoga Hibiki, there's Rock Lee, there's... I mean, we could really make this a podcast about all the anime boys that I ship myself with and wrote fanfic about when I was 12, because, you know, I'm a weeb at heart, at spirit, like the God, the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Phantom, like all levels. I'm just stalling. How are you guys doing, chat?
I am good. So for everybody who's rolling in, obviously this is not the Great Jelly Bean Massacre.
No,
No, it is not. I wish it was. That sounds rad.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. Hopefully Tina will come in to rescue us and change the stream name at some point.
Well,
I've messaged her.
It might not hurt to just get started, and it can just,
yeah,
you know...
so I apologize, everybody. We're here to talk about some anime. So if anime is not your thing, bye.
Yeah,
We're expecting jelly beans.
Yes.
Sorry to disappoint.
you are in the
Sorry
wrong
to disappoint
place.
too.
If you were looking for
Yeah,
a
jelly
massacre-
beans are not here. You know, we might, if you stay till the very end, I might have a few opinions on jelly beans if you really want to hear them. But
Yes.
you know, you have to stay for the whole stream though to hear those. They're very juicy opinions.
If you wanted to see a massacre, however, you just saw a massacre of my self-esteem.
Dang.
Yes, Streamlabs
Brutal.
hates us, so.
It hates
I mean, there
me
are
so
sports
much.
anime gamble muse.
What? Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get into this. Hi, everybody. My name's Brian. I am the head of the audio department here at KRWBY Productions. I voice Neptune in Ruby Abridged, and yeah, I'm overall I do things. Hey, Ian, who are you? What do you do?
I am the person at the central nexus of this Rolling Catastrophe,
And I can also change my voice to sound like this.
I love
God.
that.
and maybe turn it off at will. It's a divine power I have. It's nice.
Uh-huh.
You can also find me being a complete bot on the Discord server, which I help admin for. Thank you very much. And I help run the back end here when OBS isn't being a flaming dumpster fire.
Truly, the power of the gods. The power of the gods. Hey, Forrest, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I am here to talk about the animes on
Yep.
the podcast. Hi.
This is a true statement. That is what he does. Hey,
That is
Katie,
what I
who
do.
are you? What do you do?
You will address me by my full name, Brian. Please read it out to me.
Katie Mrs. Rar XD Nuzzles.
Thank you,
What do you
Brian.
do?
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miss RarXD Nuzzles, coming at you live. My online existence is actually Connie Day, but this is my my name for the moment because I'm feeling it. So heck off. And yeah, you can find me on the internet at Dr. Crafty. You can find me at KRWBY. At KRWBY, I do producer, directory boy things. I also have done some writing, and I do voice acting stuff where I'm Weiss and Cinder and Penny and Velvet, and that's real neat. I also like to be real silly all the time, just in life. And I hope you're having a good day, chat. That's me. That's your girl.
Oh,
Ha! I watch anime a lot.
Yeah, I also watch the anime a lot. It's a good time.
Woo!
Speaking of the anime, this is all a thing that we generally watch, and are doing it all the time. So, I would like to start off our first segment by asking everybody, hey, everybody, what you been watching?
So much.
So much stuff. Who would like to go first? Ian, I volunteer you.
Wow!
Voluntold.
You shall regret
Yep.
this, human.
I mean, what? Maybe it's an effect from watching Transformers last week. I don't know. But me,
That'll do
I've
it.
been watching a favorite, not here, just here on the podcast, but around the world. I have been watching My Hero Academia because they had an
Oh.
OVA, two-part OVA release this
No
past
spoilers.
week.
No spoilers on the
No
OVA.
spoilers, I haven't seen it yet.
No
Oh,
spoilers.
I haven't seen it either.
No spoilers, I promise. No spoilers, but I can say, if you've watched My Hero Academia before, you are getting more of everything you already know. All our favorite characters, all doing fun training exercises, while the guy who always gets all the dad jokes, happens to be their teacher all the time,
Yes.
just watching on and saying if they can't handle these probably almost lethal situations, they're not fit to be heroes, and I may or may not have planned safety precautions. Would you like to flip a coin and find out?
All right.
But if you haven't watched it yet, it comes with a guaranteed you will enjoy this if you like the rest of the show. It is literally just a two-part coordinated it's basically like a 2-episode arc, and it's beautifully done. It's well animated. It's got everything you would expect from My Hero Academia. It's just 2 extra episodes that you didn't get to see before until now, and now you can watch it. So what are you doing here? Go watch the show. Wait, maybe stay here and then
No, go watch
listen
it
to the
after.
podcast, and
We
then
have
go
cool
watch
things
it
to
after.
say.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have
other
things to say.
say.
Watch it
Yes.
I will do
Yes,
just
please
that.
stay
now.
and suffer with us.
I'm excited, man. Like, I love me some good Maha.
Maha.
So
Maha.
let's see.
I've been
who's
look.
next?
I've been hanging out with Izzy too much. That's the problem, because they call their My Hero Academia abridged Maha, and so now it doesn't matter. Anything My Hero is just Maha to me.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, who's next, Brian? I volunteer you.
Oh,
Well.
fuck. All right. So, my friends, I have a lot to say about this show. I have been watching a show. It is known by many names. Some call it Yahari Ore wa Seishi. No, that's not it. Yahari Ore no Romokome wa Machigatteru, I think is the Japanese title. Otherwise known, if you're a light novel fan, you probably know this as My Youth Romantic Comedy is Wrong as Expected, Or if you're an anime fan, you probably know this show as my teen romantic comedy, Snafu.
As it is infamously known as.
I just heard a snafu in the background.
Yeah. Somebody fucking up my intro, huh?
Wow!
Brian, you fucked up with your intro when you didn't say it right the first time, and I transitioned your image over, and you were still trying to pronounce it.
Get fucking dunked on, Brian.
Listen. Do you know the Japanese name? What was the Japanese name, Ian? Can you say it?
Not
Yeah,
my problem.
Ian.
You're the guy who just said it wrong.
Ha 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 ha. Sounds like somebody who can't speak Japanese. Okay.
Neither can you, bitch!
Now all of those names are way too long, so I generally refer to this show by its shortened Japanese name, Oregairu. From here on out, I will be referring to this show as Oregairu, so nobody gets confused. But yeah, so this show I've been watching this show for a very long time. And this show is very, very near and dear to my heart. I think they had like a 4-year hiatus between season 2 and 3, and just now season 3 has returned, and season 3 is the final season that's going to close out the entire series. So I guess to anybody who doesn't know what the show is or hasn't heard what the show is, this show is honestly kind of really hard to explain, because I think somebody in the YouTube or somebody in the Crunchyroll comments put it really well on the first episode of season 3, where they were like, this show continues to be the king of all shows where nothing ever happens, but simultaneously everything is happening. It is real, true slice of life, where there really, plot-wise, nothing happens. There is no plot to Oregairu. It's really all about the characters and the interpersonal relationships that they have. So, you've got this guy in high school. His name is Hachiman Hikigaya, and he is a super jaded, done with life dude. He's a hyper realist. He views everything through a very logical lens, and he kind of looks down on everybody who kind of operates based on emotion. And his teacher, who's fucking teacher of the year, by the way, basically sees that and goes, well, that's no good. And so she basically picks him up and throws him down into a club and says, you're a part of this club now, and you need to figure out how to deal with people, because that's an important life skill.
Definitely sounds like teacher of the year material. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. She's awesome. She cares about him so much, and she goes out of her way for him so much. And he gets put into the service club with this girl named Yukino Yukinoshita. And she also has her own kind of social issues, I suppose. In that she really is very cold to people. And she kind of immediately hates Hachiman. They don't get along, but they're both stuck in this situation. And so they are part of the service club, and the job of the service club is to basically help any students who come in and ask for it with pretty much anything the students need help with. Later on, they're joined by another girl named Yui Gahama is her last name. And so those three kind of form up as the main cast of Oregairu. And I was really struggling with how to, I guess, describe the overall plot of this show when there really isn't one. And I actually found that Wikipedia actually summed it up the best. So Wikipedia says, the series follows Hachiman Hikigaya, a pessimistic, closed-minded, and realistic teen who is forced by his teacher to join the school's service club and work with two girls with issues of their own. They offer help and advice to others while dealing with their own inner conflicts. Which just based off that, you're probably going, "Wow, that sounds really boring, Brian. Why are you recommending this show to us?" And the answer is because this show, strangely enough, it's incredibly well written, and it means a lot to me because I identify probably way more than I should with the main character Hachiman. And whenever I've told people that, for anybody who's seen the show, the response I usually get when I tell them that I identify really closely with Hachiman is usually something on the order of, "Oh my god, you identify with Hachiman? Are you okay? Do you need to talk?" That's usually the response that I get. And it can be kind of uncomfortable because, frankly, Hachiman is kind of the embodiment of a lot of the things that I hate about myself, and I wish could be better, but I don't really know how to make them better. And so watching his struggle as he's trying to kind of work that out himself is both really painful and also, I feel, just like really deeply connected to. And of course the other girls have their own issues as well. But it really, I think, subverts a lot of the standard tropes of kind of what you might expect in this genre. Usually you would expect this type of a genre to be very fan service heavy, very comedy heavy. And the first season of the show is a little more comedy driven, but it very quickly turns into a very, very heavy drama. And it's in the world of the kind of quote unquote boring slice of life writing, it is one of the best things I have found out there. It's really, really, really incredible. And I feel like the characters are all pretty realistically written. And so just because I identify with Hachiman, I can very easily see other people maybe identifying with some of the issues that Yukino has or that Yui has. And I wish I could sell the show better, but I guess my advice to everybody is just go watch it. Really, truly, just go watch it. This is one of the best slice of life series I've ever seen, and you're in for a treat if you go and check it out. So, all right, that's all I had. Who's next?
Woo!
All right.
Well, since it came back to you, why don't you volunteer the next unfortunate soul? Volunteer.
Well, I know what Katie is going to talk about, and I feel like we need to save that for last. So,
Wow. Maybe we're going to talk about that sooner than you would expect, because somebody didn't do their homework, and it's me. I didn't do my homework.
So,
I have not watched a whole lot of the things this week, so I am going to pass.
Okay. Well, in that case, then hey Katie.
Hey Brian.
What you been watching?
Brian, I've only been watching the goddamn anime of the year, and by the year I mean the year 2004, when it first graced the Earth. That's not true. The anime graced the Earth. The manga's been out much longer. Could you please pull up a picture? I think only a photo can really. I mean, spoiler alert, there's already a photo on the screen. That's a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
My profile picture represents the gods themselves.
It's that good shit.
It's that good Midori Days, boy.
Yeah!
Let's fucking go. So bitches, y'all, I've been living my best life recently. I'm sure you all know I'm living my best life every day. And Midori Days is the best anime on the planet. Don't even at me. That's not true. There's a lot of really great anime, but top 5, definitely top 5. So Midori Days, my dudes. Or Midori no Hibi, if you want that good original, and I will not pay the swear jar, oblivious IJ. How dare you? I'm talking about our god right now. He requires sacrifice. We must swear allegiancy to Midori Days, and whatever the fuck the boy's character's name is. I forget.
Oh,
What's our
fuck,
boy's name?
What's his name?
Was it like with a?
Seiji? That sounds right. Hold on.
I think it was Seiji.
I'm totally not
Midori
looking
Days.
up Midori Days characters. It is Seiji. Good job.
I got it. It's Seiji. So, as you might see from the picture, everyone, Ian and Forrest, have you ever seen Midori Days or heard of Midori Days?
No.
Okay, then describe to me what you see in the picture. Describe it.
Your bliss.
That is correct, but I want you to get more specific.
Why the fuck is there a girl with green hair in this poster? And why do the rest of them look like chibis?
Okay, you're focusing on the wrong thing here.
You're focusing on the wrong thing. Katie, please explain what they should be focusing on.
All right, maybe you should be focusing on the fact that this girl in the white has no legs, and in fact is attached to Seiji's hand. That's right. Midori Days is a sweet, wholesome love story about a boy in a relationship with, you guessed it, his right hand.
Yup.
Oh,
And that sounds like pretty basic degeneracy, but you know what, everyone? You thought wrong. This is one of the most wholesome love stories, one of the most beautifully written goddamn shows that has no right to be as beautiful as it is. And it's about this boy named Seiji. And
Now,
this girl...
Let me stop you right there, Katie, because I need to drive this home to everybody right now.
Okay.
What she just said was not a joke.
Not a
this
joke.
Show has no right to be as good as it is.
It's real good. It's like, it's not even just meme good. It is actually like, me and Brian started watching it, for the memes, like, because I watched it a long time ago and I enjoyed it, but I'd forgotten about it. And so I was like, Brian, what's an anime you've never seen? And he's like, oh fuck, I don't know. And I was like, have you seen Midori Days? And he was like, what the fuck is Midori Days? And I was like, oh sweet summer child. And so we watched it, and at first we were just memeing, we were laughing, we were gaffing, we were goofing, and then it got real, and then it started getting deep, and then it started taking us on an adventure where it talks about the intricacies of fantasy versus reality in your relationships, and sometimes everything you need was always right by your side, on your right hand.
Yup.
And no, it never gets as creepy. Like, I know the concept probably seems real creep, but they keep it pretty tame. Seiji is, I will not lie to you, he is a hornyboy.tm. He is an anime pro tag. But this is not an ecchi. This is a very wholesome, sweet story.
I don't know that I wouldn't say that. I don't know that I'd say it's not ecchi.
Look,
no, it's got like its moments, but it's not like
it's not horny
titties. It's not horny Power Rangers.
I mean, it shows more than horny Power Rangers. Let's be honest.
No, but in terms of okay, Brian, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, you degenerate.
They put it this way, Katie. A man in his relationship with his right hand has a number of interesting implications.
Oh, no.
I'm aware. I've watched it twice. I know the implications. But yeah, it's a really beautiful story. These two, it's not really a spoiler to say this girl wakes up on the right hand of this boy, and they go through comical adventures, and it actually explores like some interesting concepts about like how would you function like this, like how do you deal like with the logistics of having a human on your hand, and like respecting each other and like living in close quarters and like dealing with that stuff. And she of course has her like bullshit anime girl, like, oh, I heckin', oh man, oh geez, I'm so infatuated, and he's like all anime pro tag, and they explore some very interesting dynamics and situations. And then the best tsundere to ever tsundere is also featured on this little poster, this little brown-haired girl. She is my god, my goddess, my everything. I love her. She's the best tsundere. Yeah, Saki. She is my tsundere queen. And so yeah, it's kind of perfection. And Yeah, I recommend if you want a beautiful journey into the unknown, you should watch Midori Days with some friends. Grab some popcorn
Oh,
and grab
yeah.
your puppets because you need to have a full experience.
This
Oh,
could not get any more
I
awkward.
I cannot recommend this show more highly. This is such a fun show to watch with friends.
It's
And,
great, and the
and
ending song.
honestly,
Mm,
I guarantee you, you will be walking away and you will be singing its praises like us too, going, what the fuck? That show had no right to be as good as it is.
oh yeah, and like the ending song is actually though one of my top 5 like anime songs that I listen to like nonstop. Like I'll listen to the Midori Days ending song. Like the openings, it's a basic opening, but the ending they went hard. Like it's like a beautiful soft song that's very like deep and pretty and like and it just it gives me a nice like coffee house vibe. Like I really love like that the sound. Like it's really nice. Like on a rainy day, listen to that Midori Days ending and watch this with the boys. That's my story.
Hell yeah.
It's good shit.
Sounds
It's
like
good
a wild
shit.
show.
Damn.
great.
Okay.
I'm so glad I'm so glad you decided to talk about Midori Days today, Katie.
I had to eventually, and today was the day. And also, please call me by my full name, Miss RarXD Nuzzles. Thank you.
Okay, this is fair. This is fair. I apologize.
I believe we are now transitioning.
Yep, we are in fact now transitioning over. So, I think you guys know what time it is.
Oh no!
yeah,
Is it
please
already
no.
that time?
It's that time.
Yes.
God.
Sadly.
It
All right,
is
Turn,
buckle up,
that
guys.
turn down your volumes.
Buckle up,
Protect
buckaroos.
your ears.
So, for anybody in the chat who maybe doesn't know what time it is,
Brian,
especially
please
because-
explain it to them before you throw them in that roller coaster.
Yeah, for anybody who maybe doesn't know what time it is, especially because the title is still wrong.
It's about to massacre your ears, not those jelly beans.
I do a little thing where we want to be talking about the current season of Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld Part 2. But in order to do that, I am colorfully recapping
That's a word for it.
all of SAO up to the current point. And today, I am recapping the tail end of SAO Season 2, KRWBY and Mother's Rosario. So, don't be
Colorfully-
shocked, but we're gonna go
Colorfully narrating
hard.
my ass. This is a vent.
So, without further ado, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Ready as I'll ever be.
It's a rant, my boys. Strap in. All right, my friends. It's that time again.
God, the
It's
voice.
time to talk about our favorite sword-wielding anime hero,
No.
Jesus King. Today, I will be recapping the short arcs that round out the end of SAO Season 2, KRWBY and Mother's Rosario. And when I say short, I mean short. Mother's Rosario is 7 episodes that go by very fast, and KRWBY is amazingly only 3 episodes, yet when you're watching them, somehow it feels like it's 25. My god, I hate KRWBY. If Alfheim is the arc that I hate most, KRWBY is a close second. And the reason for that is because it's stupid, it's meaningless, and its only saving grace is that it's just 3 episodes long. I'm serious, I could literally skip over the entire arc, and it wouldn't change a goddamn thing about your understanding of the series moving forward. But since I'm here to make fun of SAO, that just wouldn't do now, would it? So without further ado, let us begin the recap of the KRWBY arc. It has been just over a week since the events that ended Gun Gale, and Kirito has converted his character back over from Gun Gale to Alfheim. That way he can go back to hanging out with his harem. And also because Castle Einkrad is now a part of Alfheim. So they're now playing SAO in Alfheim. It's weird. Also, Sinon has converted her character over from Gungale to Alfheim too. That way she can join the harem and continue to hang out with her new husbando. So, one morning, Kirito is reading an article from a magazine called, I think it was MMO Tomorrow? Not that that matters, I just thought it was dumb. And the article states that within Alfheim, or ALO, I realized that I never actually started using its acronym, the quest for the Holy Sword Excalibur has been found. So it'll only be a short time before someone claims it. And Kirito is bummed. For you see, he feels somewhat of a connection with this sword ever since he used his admin powers, gifted to him by Ghost KRWBY, to system call Excalibur into existence, and used it to stab Nobuyuki Sugo in the eye after he gratuitously violated Asuna with molestation and terrible writing. So, needless to say, Kirito feels something of a kinship with this sword after the many good times they've had together. And he's sad at the prospect of it going to someone else. So, with a light push from his totally 100% blood-related little sister Suguha, God, I can't talk, they get the gang together, and they decide to embark on a journey to retrieve Excalibur. Now, before we start, let's break down the gang, shall we? On the female side, we have Silica, Lisbeth, Asuna, Lifa, and Sinon. And on the male side, we have Kirito and Klein. And I think the moral of that story is that we should count ourselves lucky that we got both Kirito and Klein, rather than just Kirito.
I feel so sad for my boy Egil, who you call Tiffany, who gets constantly left
Tiffany,
out.
I will accept no other answers. So they all get together, and in order to get to the dungeon containing Excalibur, they hop on a flying monster that Lifa had previously tamed and named Tonki. And Lifa thinks Tonki is cute, but in actuality, Tonki is a horrifying elephant dragonfly jellyfish type thing. It's the stuff of nightmares, man! It's terrifying! But mid-flight, an NPC appears and stops them, and to cut the exposition short, they're basically told that if they don't complete this quest within a few hours, the game will murder itself. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, how could this be? Why would the developers make a quest that would destroy the game? And the answer is, they didn't. You see, Alfheim wasn't built off the seed, it was built directly off of SAO's code, and SAO's final subroutine after the 100th floor was beaten was to destroy Castle Einkrad and release everyone from the game. And Alfheim has a quest-generating engine. I don't know why I said it like that. And Alfheim has a quest-generating engine that generates quests based on mythology without the help of the developers. So logic can only dictate that the game got tired of life, was thinking about ending it all, and just wanted to see how many of its players would actually care if it died. So, yep, I wish I could make this up, Forrest.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
Listen. Just listen.
So, with time a-wasting, they arrive at the dungeon and start battling through all the different rooms. And on the way, they run into an NPC girl who's been locked in a cage. And everyone's like, we're not touching this. This is obviously a trap. But Klein is like, but it's a pretty woman! We must save her! And so he releases her anyways. She joins their party, and they arrive at the boss room. They start fighting the boss, and initially they aren't doing too well. Until all of a sudden, the NPC they rescued turns into Thor. And I'm not talking like a femme Thor. I'm talking 50-foot tall, super manly, bulging muscles, forest under his balls type Thor. And with the help of gender-swapping Thor, they defeat the boss and retrieve Excalibur, saving the game. Then the dungeon crumbles to bits, they all escape on Tonki, and lament at the fact that the quest could only be completed once, and no other players would get the chance. Also, Excalibur is heavy and has encumbered Kirito. So, he has to throw Excalibur off into the ether, because Tonki was a bitch and wouldn't fly close enough that Kirito wouldn't have to jump. But then Sinon uses her sniping powers with her new bow and arrow to retrieve it for Kirito. There's a really cringy moment where Sinon asks him to always remember her when using the sword, and then the quest NPC and Thor return to give them their spoils for completing the quest. Also, Thor is turned back into a girl, and in one of the most pathetic displays I have ever seen, Klein asks Femme NPC Thor for her number. And Lisbeth is all, I have so much respect for you right now, Klein. And I'm over here like, why? He asked out an NPC! We don't support this! We don't encourage this! We pity this! Get your friend some help, Lisbeth! Clearly the man is desperate beyond all words!
Poor boy. Poor boy.
And that is the end of the Caliber arc.
You know how I said it would get worse, Forrest? You just heard all of the highlights of that in, I think, 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
So now, that brings us to Mother's Rosario. Now, Mother's Rosario is widely considered by many to be the best arc in all of SAO. And for good reason. Kirito is barely in it! It's true, my friends. Mother's Rosario, objectively speaking, is probably the single best thing Reki Kawahara has ever written. Which, in fairness, isn't a very high bar, but the fact remains is that, and this is a very high compliment coming from me, Mother's Rosario is, honest to God, decent. And it really puts into perspective how many of the show's problems could actually be fixed if Kirito just wasn't there! No joke, all of the worst parts of Mother's Rosario are parts where Kirito shows up and does something stupid. Literally, nearly every aspect of this arc that doesn't include Kirito is perfectly fine. Just remove Kirito from the series, and it fixes 90% of what makes this show suck. Also, Ian, I don't see the fucking Mother's Rosario thing up on the screen. Maybe you should fix that. Get that good key visual up there. Now,
Alright,
you're
enjoy your
probably
fucking key visual. Get off my back.
Now you're probably wondering, Brian, if Kirito isn't the main character of Mother's Rosario, then who is? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is a character forgotten by time, left behind in the depths of the past at the very beginning of the story. A character beloved by many, crowned by countless people as their top waifu, known as the Berserk Healer, the only other sword wielder who can rival Kirito in strength, speed, and technique. Years after the show that brought her into existence unjustly tossed her aside like a used cum sock, she has returned to take her rightful place in the spotlight of SAO. The main character of Mother's Rosario is none other than Lightning Flash Asuna of the Knights of the Blood Oath.
Hell
And
yeah.
my god, is it a breath of fresh air. In this arc, Asuna proves to be 10 times the protagonist that Kirito is, and
Hell
the
yeah.
fact that the show underutilizes her to the extreme that they do is nothing short of criminal. Asuna even gets to do all the things that Kirito does. She legit gets to collect her very own waifu, and she still does it better than Kirito. It's staggering how much better things are with Asuna as the protagonist. So, anyways, with the preamble out of the way, let's dig in to Mother's Rosario. A new update has come to ALO, which unlocks floors 21 through 30 of New Aincrad. And Kirito and Asuna rush to once again buy the log cabin they lived in on floor 22. They succeed, and it would be a relatively touching reunion, so long as you're willing to overlook the fact that that's where Yui came into the show. That little child piece of shit comes in, destroys all the stakes, breaks all the mechanics. I want to yeet her off a cliff. I hope she dies screaming. Get out of my goddamn show!
Yikes.
Now there are rumors surrounding a new player named Zekin, who is dueling people every day who are willing. And anyone who beats them gets their personal sword skill, which is an 11-hit combo attack. Thus far, no one has been able to beat them. Supposedly, even Kirito has tried and failed. But according to his harem, he wasn't really trying, because Kirito, he's not allowed to lose. I mean, he's too fucking OP to lose! So, anyways, Asuna decides that she's going to give this a go. But after having this discussion, she realizes she's running late for dinner and quickly logs out to join her mother at the dining room table.
No.
And during their conversation over dinner, Asuna's mother declares her intent to have Asuna transfer out of the high school set up for SAO survivors and attend a quote-unquote real school. She also reprimands Asuna for doing her homework in the virtual world, as she will learn nothing if it isn't done with her real hands in the real world. She also states that Kirito isn't worthy of her, as he's just a lowly SAO survivor, and Asuna needs to marry into a rich family in order to be happy, as she's grown up rich and wouldn't be able to adjust to any other kind of living. The conversation ends with Asuna understandably getting angry and asking her mother if she's ashamed of her dead grandparents because they were poor, and then storming out. Now, let's start a tally, shall we? First order of business, familial character writing. In Asuna's case, we get to meet her parents, and she has a mother who refuses to see the value of the virtual world, and as a result wants to take Asuna away from her friends, and just overall, due to her misunderstanding of the situation, wants to distance Asuna from everything she holds dear under the pretext that it's for her own good. This sets up a major obstacle that Asuna will need to overcome by the end of the arc, as well as sets up an issue that's likely to be painfully relatable to a lot of people watching, as many of them have probably struggled in the past with explaining to their parents why the relationships that they have with their online friends are every bit as meaningful and important as their in-person relationships. Alternatively, we never even met Kirito's parents, and instead, we meet his little sister/cousin, and the major obstacle Kirito needs to overcome in the arc is to not have sex with her. And I think incest is probably worth like -5 points, so that's Asuna 1, Kirito -5. We'll keep that tally rolling. Anyways, when Asuna arrives the next day to fight Zekin, a crowd has formed, and she's surprised to find that Zekin is actually a cute anime girl. Her name is Yuki, and guess what? She's voiced by my girl, Aoi Yuki!
Of course she is!
Oh my god.
This arc just keeps getting better and better, man.
Brian, I'm gonna need you to come back down to planet Earth with the rest of us so that you can explain the rest of this and we can move on with our lives.
Never.
So, the two of them fight, Asuna almost loses, but then Yuki decides that Asuna is the one. And she grabs Asuna by the arm, starts flying, and leads her off to God knows where. They soon arrive at a tavern, where Yuki introduces Asuna to her party, the Sleeping Knights. And they have a goal. Their goal is to beat an SAO floor boss using just their party, because there's a big stone in the Town of Beginnings that names the first set of players to defeat a floor boss and unlock the next floor. But with multi-party raids, as how the floor bosses are usually defeated, only the party leaders get a spot on the stone. But if a floor boss is defeated by a single party, then all the party members get their names on the stone. They've been trying to do this for the past few months, but each time they get close, a large raid party comes in and defeats it before they get the chance. Now, the Sleeping Knights are one short the maximum number of players in a party, so they want to add one last powerful player to help them finally defeat a floor boss by themselves. They also want to do this quickly, as in a few months, they will all be too busy to play, and the party will disband. So they want to have one last final adventure and etch into stone the fact that they were there. Asuna enthusiastically agrees to join their party, and they set out to defeat a floor boss. They lose the first time around, but they learn valuable lessons. They also learn that a much larger raid party has been spying on them, and learning from their attempts at fighting the bosses, which is why in the past the bosses have always been defeated before the Sleeping Knights get a chance to do it themselves. After realizing this, they rush back to the boss room to try to give it another go, but a large raid party has already showed up. Now faced with the prospect of losing out on defeating another boss, the outlook is grim. But then, all of a sudden, Kirito shows up to save the day! How did he know where Asuna was? How did he know that he needed to help Asuna stop this raid group from entering the boss room and knew to rush to her aid? I don't know! But of course he fucking knew. Why wouldn't he? He's Kirito. So, with the help of Kirito and Klein, who was also there for some reason, Asuna and the rest of the Sleeping Knights make it into the boss room, and they manage to defeat the boss. And just like that, Asuna defeats a floor boss through hard work and the power of friendship. How about you, Kirito? You ever done that? You ever defeated a floor boss through hard work and the power of friendship? No! You've only ever defeated a boss through rage, stupid OP protagonist powers, and plot convenience! So that's like Asuna 2, Kirito, -15. So, after having defeated a floor boss, they go and celebrate. They eat some food, they have some drinks, and just overall have a good time. It gets a little awkward when Asuna asks if it would be alright if she remained in the Sleeping Knights until they disband, and they politely turn her down, followed by Asuna apologizing for asking something difficult. But they very soon manage to carry on like nothing happened. They then decide to go see their names on the big stone in the town of beginnings. They visit it, take some pictures, and are overall feeling great until Yuki accidentally calls Asuna sis. Now, over the course of this adventure, Asuna has grown very close with the Sleeping Knights, especially Yuki. And Yuki had actually unknowingly called Asuna sis once before during the boss fight. But considering their closeness, Asuna didn't mind and actually liked it. And so she decides to point it out to Yuki. And the moment she does, a look of horror comes over Yuki's face. She apologizes profusely, and then immediately logs out. Several days go by with Asuna not being able to contact Yuki. She's worried sick, and it doesn't help that she's got her mother hounding her about spending too much time online, patronizing her for wanting to go back to the virtual world after being trapped in it for 2 years, and having the prospect of changing schools to conform to her mother's misguided wishes, slowly suffocating her. So, needless to say, Asuna is in a dark place. She's sad, she's lonely, she's confused, and she doesn't know what to do. Which causes me to pause just for a moment to do a quick sidebar. Hey, Kirito! Have you ever struggled with anything? Have you ever shown the vulnerability that we, the audience, could identify with? No! Of course not! You're Kirito! You're perfect! And have answers to everything! In fact, you're so perfect and have the answer to everything that you even have the answer to Asuna's problem!
Damn.
Kirito tells Asuna that she should be able to find the answers she's looking for if she goes to this one hospital. How does he know this? Say it with me, folks! Because he's Kirito! So, that's like Asuna 3, Kirito -75. You see what I mean by Kirito being the catalyst for literally all the worst parts of Mother's Rosario. So Asuna goes to the hospital, and as luck would have it, she does indeed find Yuki. But what she finds out about Yuki isn't all good news. It turns out that Yuki is living in a sterile clean room. She's not allowed to leave, and no one is allowed to enter. And that's because Yuki is suffering from the final stages of acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, otherwise known as HIV/AIDS. And not only that, her entire family got AIDS as well, and they all died, hence why Yuki was so upset by the fact that she called Asuna her sister. And now, I could make fun of this by saying something along the lines of, "Holy shit! Reki Kawahara gave one of his characters fucking AIDS? How hard is he working to make people cry?" But AIDS is a very serious disease, so I will not make light of it, as doing
No.
so would be in poor taste. Now, it's at this point that the sad truth of the Sleeping Knights comes out. The Sleeping Knights members are all terminal care patients whose quality of life is so poor that living life in the real world is unbearable. And so they become part of an experiment using a new technology called the Metacuboid that's basically terminal comfort care using virtual reality. And in the most extreme cases, like Yuki, they are living full-time in VR and have been doing so for years. For Yuki, it's been 3. 1 year longer than Asuna and everyone else were trapped in SAO. And the reason that the Sleeping Knights were going to disband was because a few of their members had been given only a few months to live, and after these members passed, everyone wanted to call it quits. So Asuna manages to reconcile with Yuki, and Yuki opens up to her saying that the one thing she wishes she could do before she goes is go back to school. And, as luck would have it, Kirito has been studying mechatronics and has built a little robot using a camera, a microphone, and some speakers so that Yui could communicate with them in the real world. So Kirito lets Asuna borrow his little robot for a short while, that way Yuki can attend school with them. It's very sweet, it's very touching, and Asuna and Yuki's bond grows even stronger and more inseparable. And through their conversations and their experiences together, Asuna realizes that she can't shy away from things and she needs to address the situation with her mother head on. How about you, Kirito? You ever learn a major life lesson from any of your waifus? No? Asuna 4, Kirito negative 125. So, Asuna invites her mother to come into ALO and see her world. They bond over the fact that the view from the cabin is very similar to the view from Asuna's grandparents' house, and that somehow rectifies the situation. I would have liked to see the grandparents thing explored more and given the mom some more screen time to develop. But even if the resolution was somewhat forced, it was well planned and consistently built up to all the way to the end. So, good job, Reki. That's a major improvement. You did good. So, all seemed well that ended well. Asuna didn't have to change schools, her mother understood her a little more, and she was closer with Yuki than ever. That is, until the fateful day that Asuna got a message from Yuki's doctor to come quickly, because Yuki wasn't going to last much longer. Asuna rushes to Yuki's side and quickly logs into ALO to speak with her. Within ALO, Yuki waxes poetic about how blessed she is to have lived a life surrounded by such great friends, and how happy she is that she got to meet Asuna before it was time for her to go. She then gifts Asuna her 11-hit combo original sword skill, and Asuna promises that if she ever decides to leave ALO, she'll pass the sword skill on to someone worthy, so as to keep her legend alive. Yuki also admits to loving Asuna, which, it's not super clear if it was supposed to be romantic, but she's Asuna's waifu, so I'm gonna say probably.
Hell yeah.
By the way, what a way to cuck Asuna! Kirito's out here collecting waifus left and right, and then Asuna finally gets a chance to collect some waifus of her own, and then the first one up and dies on her? What kind of bullshit is that? So then the rest of the Sleeping Knights come to see her off, as well as Kirito and his harem, as well as, like, hundreds of other random players? 'Cause, sure, why not, I guess. But anyways, so, with all the formalities out of the way, Yuki quietly and peacefully passes away, surrounded by nothing but people who loved and respected her. Soon after, back in the real world, Asuna attends Yuki's funeral. She and Kirito get a chance to talk with Yuki's doctor about the Metacuboid, and how it will likely revolutionize terminal care in the medical industry. Kirito then asks the doctor who is responsible for the initial design of the Metacuboid. He says they received it from a professor named Kojiro Rinko. And that makes Kirito stop in his tracks. For you see, he's met Kojiro Rinko. She's worked very closely with Kayaba Akihiko on developing SAO, and even took care of his body while he was diving into the game as Heathcliff. Which means that the initial design for the Metacuboid came from none other than, dun dun dun, Kayaba Akihiko himself. And what does that mean? Nothing that important. Aside from the fact that Kirito just stole the spotlight from Asuna at the last minute. You just had to do it, didn't you, Kirito? The one time Asuna gets an arc all to herself, and you just had to take the final scene away from her. Some might call that stealing other people's thunder. I call it cucking your girlfriend out of the final resolution to a one and only arc! Which is another thing Asuna has never done. And that dick move has got to be worth at least, like, minus 8,876 points, which brings the final tally to Asuna 5, Kirito over negative 9,000. Which, by anime law, dictates that Kirito must now relinquish his position as the main protagonist and give it to Asuna. No more Kirito. I want Asuna as the main protagonist from now on. I'm sorry, Kirito, but you're just so terrible, and she beat you out in this arc so thoroughly that it would really be for the best if you just left. Just leave and never come back. In fact, just to be safe, it would probably be best if you just, like, yeeted yourself off a cliff. That's really, I think, the safest option. Don't worry about your parents. We'll explain it to them that it was all for a just cause. I'm sure they'll understand. But the bottom line is, we don't want you anymore. We want Asuna. We hate you, so go fuck yourself. And that is both the end of Mother's Rosario and the end of Sword Art Online Season 2.
I am sure that Kirito appreciated your subtlety and, finesse in that statement, Brian. I'm sure he appreciated it if he was a real character.
I'm just amazed you did that all in one breath.
Yeah.
All in one breath.
One breath, didn't breathe once. Just beautiful, God sent, amazing. No lies detected. Oh my god. I can't wait till you get to the part that we're at, Brian.
Sorry, say it one more time. You cut out for me.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to the part where you get to the part where we're at in Sword Art right now, because we're watching it for the audience. We're watching it every week, and crazy things have happened.
So just today, I started watching Alicization again. That way, I could, because what I've been doing is I've been going back and rewatching SAO. For you. I hope you're joking, Gamble. Yes, there is more SAO. There's a lot more SAO.
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah.
Right now, there's some shit happening.
Yeah. I just started rewatching Alicization, so that I could kind of get a jump start on writing the recap, and I'm so excited to recap Alicization, man. Like, it is just, it's gonna be, I have been wanting to get to Alicization since we started these recaps.
It's great.
It's gonna be so much fun.
That doesn't bode well.
So
I'm guessing we didn't get the protagonist switch that you were hoping for.
You know?
No, not so much. Not so much. It goes back on it really winds up going back to Kirito, and
but there's a period where,
there is a period with some less Kirito, which this time around I don't know if it's any better for that, but
yeah.
Now I will say, so in all seriousness, as far as Mother's Rosario is concerned, right, I was not joking about the fact that Mother's Rosario really is, I think, the best written part of SAO. unfortunately, and Kirito is definitely the worst part of it. Kirito is
Get
but
dunked on Kirito.
I mean, Kirito really is like one of the worst parts of SAO for sure. There's so many problems with his character.
No, yeah.
But
Okay, but like Kirito versus Demon King though.
oh, Demon King wins hands down.
No, obviously, but like just imagine.
Like, because I feel like at a certain level, Demon King almost doesn't even take itself seriously.
No.
But no, like the saddest thing to me about Mother's Rosario, the most heartbreaking thing about Mother's Rosario, is that it really does have all this stuff that's genuinely good, or at the very least genuinely decent, but none of it matters, because while Asuna goes and she has this whole character arc and she learns stuff, even though it's been hinted at, these things were never really shown as problems for Asuna previously. We've never really seen her struggle with this stuff. And which, that in of itself, maybe wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if, moving forward, we saw the things that she learned from Yuki actually have a lasting effect moving on in the series moving forward. But it really doesn't. So, in many ways, Mother's Rosario almost has kind of the same problem that that Caliber does, in that you can watch the entire arc and go, okay, that was cool, but it was meaningless. Like, it really doesn't change anything about the show moving forward. And that, to me, is the most heartbreaking thing, is that Reki Kawahara managed to actually write something for once in his life that was actually kind of okay.
Damn.
It doesn't matter.
That's
So,
rough, buddy.
You right?
yeah.
High praise.
Yeah, so I'm in any case, I'm very, very glad now to be done with the first 2 seasons of SAO, and I am so looking forward to talking about Alicization next week.
Oh my god.
But for this week,
Woo!
For this
Segue.
week, now that we are done with this, I think it's time to get into our book club show. I don't know about you guys.
We should do it. Start us off, Brian.
All right, let's talk about some good ReZero.
Let's do it.
some stuff happened this week.
Yep.
What? That's
Yep,
crazy.
some stuff happened this week. So today we are talking about ReZero Season 2, Episode 6, The Maiden's Gospel. Also, just fair warning for anybody else out there. I don't even realize, didn't even notice when this happened. The stream title was finally changed. Thanks, Tina.
Yay,
Thank
Tina!
you.
Everybody,
Thank
round of
you,
applause for Tina.
Yeah. Oh my God, we've got people in here who don't even know that ReZero has a season 2.
Oh no.
Oh,
So
Bedouin, you need to look it up, and you might want to.
yeah. So without, I guess it needless to say, spoilers.
All the
Yeah.
spoilers.
Big
Every
spoilers.
spoiler.
Big
Mhm.
giant letters.
Yes. For the
So,
current episode.
so I guess first and foremost,
Question.
go ahead.
Question. It's called the Maiden's Gospel. Is that
Yeah.
the title of the episode?
That is the title of the episode. Yes.
I got through the episode and I could not tell you what the Maiden's Gospel is referring to. I mean, they could have called this episode like Maids and Monsters or something, and it would have made more sense to me. But I don't. What is? Did anyone get that? Did anyone?
What
No.
the Maiden's Gospel is? Well,
I did not get that reference. Whatever it was referring to went in through one ear and out the other for me, with zero comprehension in between.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
My only guess is maybe whatever this oath Frederica has that she can't break. Like she can't
Yeah.
tell them anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it
Let me
has a
just let me
reference to
just
the
stop real. Let
ending.
me just stop real quick, because we've got somebody leaving. I don't know how to say her name, Bedouin or something. If season 1 left kind of a bad taste in your mouth, I highly recommend you rewatch. Because we talked about this the first time around, but ReZero is really truly a show that you need to rewatch. My first time I was like, yeah, that was fine. It was a fine show. I didn't mind it. And my second time around I was like, holy shit, this show is like a goddamn masterpiece. So
Mhm.
just for what that's worth, go watch. Go do yourself a favor and rewatch ReZero season 2. Anyways, go ahead, Forrest.
Oh well, that I don't know. What was I gonna say? That was it.
So,
Just that I didn't know.
oh, okay.
I have
Well,
something at least of
go ahead.
import. I predicted that Subaru would die twice this episode. I was wrong, sadly.
Damn.
It's true. He
We
only
haven't picked up
dies.
the pace that far. Yeah,
Actually,
that
he
fast.
doesn't die. Does
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't.
he? It
He
kind
was
of
about
feels
to,
like. I
though.
mean, it looks like he got thrown through several wind. I feel like he should be dead by all rights, but
Yeah.
Well, doesn't he? No, he doesn't. He die once? No, he
Well,
he
doesn't.
doesn't die at the
The
end.
end of the last episode, he died, and then he woke up, and then he was
Yeah.
like, "All right, I know what my mission is," and then so he went to the
Speaking of-
heckin' place.
Speaking
Yeah.
of waking up, what a place to respawn, man.
Yeah, I was wrong. I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna respawn next to well, he did respawn next to Amelia, but I thought it was gonna be like when she was in bed and it was gonna be all sweet, but no, it was just like
No.
like in the fucking place.
Fucking yeah, like it respawns him like right by Amelia as she's having her goddamn panic attack.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch the terror on her face every single time he respawns.
Yeah.
I get the feeling he's gonna respawn
Mhm.
a lot this time.
I
Yeah.
get the feeling that's going to be very emotionally stabilizing for Subaru, don't you think?
Yeah, that's just boy, like that's what a horrible place, right? Because like you're already like probably like freaked out of your mind, right? Because you're in the process of dying,
Yeah.
and then you wake up and you're not even given the time to calm down because now you have to calm down Amelia,
Mhm.
right? Fucking hell.
Really testing this boy.
Yeah.
They are. Well, I think it's very interesting to see because like the first time, right? I think last week we were talking about Subaru. You know, he's like, yeah, Amelia, just do the trial. It's cool. You know, I did it, no problem. Even though she's clearly terrified of whatever she's facing, right?
Mhm.
And we were kind of talking about how he didn't seem to be too aware of that until maybe the end of the episode. This time around, he tries the other tactic. He's like, oh my god, she's clearly suffering. This is clearly horrible for her. I don't want her to go through this. I will take the burden for her. And that completely backfires on him.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, right? Because first of all, this is like the first time that Subaru tells anybody that he's actually capable of doing the trials, I think, because Garfield just like kind of figured it out last time. And yeah, and when he suggests to Amelia that he do like the trials in her stead, like even though it was Garf's idea last time around, Garf is like, no, I don't agree with this. Like, fucking, you just think you can say whatever you want, don't you?
Yeah. Well, and Subaru's very confused. He's like this
Yeah.
whole episode. He was like, "Wait, why aren't you the you from the previous iteration? Why? What's different? What changed?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't understand.
Yeah. Also, Joshua Killer. No, Underworld is probably gonna be in 2 weeks. Next week, Alicization. Week after that, Underworld. Don't worry, you're good. We're getting to the good stuff. Don't you worry.
The good stuff. Oh god.
The heckin' goods.
So, but anyways, yeah. So, the other thing that really stands out too is that like, there are a couple inconsistencies with I guess how things went last time. First and foremost, Amelia just straight up like went to bed last time she had her panic attack. Like she didn't go and talk to anybody. She didn't have a conversation. She just went to bed. And this time around, she's well enough to actually come and have this conversation with everybody. Obviously, Garf's stance has changed on things, and Emilia, despite seeming last time around like she was really kind of wishing that she didn't have to undergo the trial, when Subaru presents her with the idea of like, hey, what if I do the trials in your stead, she's really hurt by that. To her, that's like Subaru doesn't have faith in her ability to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, to be clear, he doesn't express it in a way that's like, I care about you. I'm sorry that you're, having trouble with this. He tries, but he kind of.
I mean, he says, he tells her that if she doesn't want to face her past, that's okay, and that he can do it in her stead, and that he cares about her, and that he doesn't want to see her suffer, and that he can, that basically that he, I think he says that like he wants to be her sword or something of that
strength,
nature. Her strength, yeah.
Yeah, I actually think he communicated it relatively decently, for an anime character, since anime characters are usually not very good at the whole talking thing. But I do think because of Amelia's very, very deep rooted and I guess a little outward rooted insecurities, she still was not able to really understand that. I mean, or maybe she understood, but she just refused to like accept and like, because sometimes when you're in a very emotional state, someone can say something like logically or empathetically, but you're still going to like resist it because your own insecurities are going to be projected
right
in that moment. And that's what I kind of took from that scene, is she was just still in that very emotionally vulnerable state and wasn't thinking logically or hearing him logically.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, because like she's just come off of this horrible experience undergoing the trial, and so she's already probably feeling utterly worthless and like a failure, and then Subaru comes in and is like, hey, I can do it for you, and and her incredibly screwed up brain at the moment is going, oh god, I failed in Subaru's eyes too,
even though he doesn't say that. Like it's an illogical reaction. Like I actually was decently happy. Everything could always be communicated better, but in that moment I was actually decently happy with the way he said it. And then when they were like given that opposite reaction, I was in POV Subaru. I was like, wait, what? Like what? You're not
Yeah. No, that's
that
fair.
moment.
I mean, her self-doubt comes through really clearly.
Yeah. But no, everything could always be communicated a little better. Like, so you're not wrong, but like, yeah, in that moment, I just the bar's pretty low for anime characters communicating with each other. So I'm just like,
this is very true with you and your Mason Ikoku.
God, don't. That's gonna be what I talk about next week, yo.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, I guess because she's made this promise, right, to like the townsfolk. She said, "I'm gonna be your savior. I'm gonna, I will do better in your eyes so that you trust me," kind of thing. So she's kind of got a little bit writing on this. There's some pressure to perform here and to overcome her challenges.
Yeah.
So she's under a lot of stress.
Yep.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. And so basically after the meeting is over, because like pretty much after Emilia like kind of admits her feelings there of just being utterly worthless, Rom, the smart one in the room, is like,
such a good Rom.
Let's save this conversation for later.
Let's stop talking about this. She's so straight and to the point. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She's kind of perfect.
Yeah, no, she is. Which I thought, just kind of like, I guess, a Japanese culture note that I was thinking about as I was rewatching the episode to take notes. So Rom is super, super sarcastic. And it occurred to me that that's really, really strange, because sarcasm isn't really a thing in Japanese.
It is not.
It's not really a concept that Japanese people have. It's not like people don't people don't say what they don't mean.
Do you think it's a translation thing, like in terms of the way the subs are? Or do you think it's actually intended?
I think that Rom is in fact that sarcastic.
Yeah, because I'd
which
like to
makes
talk to
her-
someone who like super speaks the language to like say
Yeah.
that, I guess, you know?
Well,
But no,
no,
I believe you.
if you want to talk to somebody who super speaks the language, go talk to Joey the anime man. He made a video about how sarcasm isn't a thing in Japanese.
Oh hell yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
watch that. That's really cool.
But yeah, like and for anybody who doesn't know the anime man, he's fluent, like 100% fluent in Japanese.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was kind of really interesting, I guess, seeing that and being like, wow, so if Rom is this abrasive already in English, imagine how abrasive she is in Japanese doing all this sarcastic shit. So
Yeah.
and I do know definitely that like it's not a translation thing where they're just like trying to play up her sarcasm, because I do understand enough Japanese to be able to connect the dots between some of the subtitles and some of what I hear and be like, nope, that's what she said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, I just thought that was really, really interesting. Like, but yeah, you bringing up that like Rom is so straightforward and like straight to the point with everything, including her sarcasm, and how really like unorthodox and kind of insanely rude that is in Japanese. So it's a really interesting character archetype, I guess. But yeah, so Subaru talks with Garf and he's like, yo, why are you so against this idea? And Garf is like, because Rosewall's against the idea. And I hate that dude, but he makes the rules, so it has to be Emilia that completes the trial. Which I think to a certain extent makes sense, because if this whole thing is like a ploy to gain Emilia some clout for the royal selection, it kind of really does have to be her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
having somebody else do it doesn't
Yeah.
say anything about her character, right? Like,
Yeah, so
that scene with Rosewall is interesting too.
Yeah,
He's talking to him, and Subaru talks over him, like he interrupts Rosewall, and there's this look on Rosewall's face, like he's deciding whether or not to incinerate him in fire.
Yeah.
But as we know
How
from the
messy was
previous like reincarnation of Subaru, of Subaru, Rosewall very much wants our boy alive and has apparently this grand scheme involving him. So Subaru has, I guess, more
It's gonna
power
let
than
him
he
live.
thinks.
Silver-eyed vibe checker. I see where you're going, and I like your energy, but let's be real here.
Damn.
Beatrice is best girl, okay?
Though, I mean, damn, though, they all pretty good.
But yeah, no. So also in that conversation with Rosewall, something that really stuck out to me was that last night last night wait, why am I saying, or I'm saying last night as if I'm in the show. The previous night, in the previous life,
Last night I was reincarnated.
yes, the previous time around, we were talking, and on the last podcast that we did, we talked very, very heavily about how Rosewall seems to know things about Subaru. And we were kind of theorizing that maybe he is aware of Subaru's return by death ability, and that maybe, just maybe, he might even have something to do with the witch and Subaru's initial summoning.
Mm-hmm.
And we seem to have gotten a little something that maybe supports that theory a little bit.
Yeah, we got a one-liner from him.
Yeah, because as Subaru is talking with Rosewall, he basically says, "Look, I want you to talk with Garf and the frickin' elf girl, and convince them to send all the villagers back to Arlem. Emilia's already here. There's no point." But he says, "It doesn't look like I'll be able to get them to agree with me this time. To which Rosewall responds with, "This time."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it
Mhm.
seem like Rosewall, maybe he doesn't know about the return by death mechanic. Like, he doesn't know how that works, but he know that that's something Subaru can do. Like,
my theory just so far is I think Rosewall knows that there's some interdimensional shit happening. He can't quite source it. He can't quite like because the witch, if Subaru tries to say I can return from death, just goes like, fuck no, you can't say that. So like I think she would even make sure that no one else like but him knew. But Rosewall must have some ability to sense some fuckery is happening. And so when he says like last time, I think he's kind of even says it with like this piqued curiosity, but also this confidence, this like charisma of like he just put something together in his head that is a puzzle piece of something else he figured out, but he can't quite figure out how to link it to Subaru.
Yeah, like that was kind of the vibe that I got too, where I was just like, he just connected the dots on something.
On something.
He had some kind of hypothesis, and Subaru just gave him another piece that supports it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's like, how does a completely useless, basically powerless guy keep, miraculously saving the day? And he just gave him a piece of the puzzle. He may not know that it's like, oh, he has to die in order to reset time.
Yeah.
But he just told him, oh, this is an iterative process, right? He gets multiple attempts to redo stuff.
Yeah,
Also,
this is like really dark. But like imagine like in future episodes, what if Rosewall just knows and like something happens and Rosewall just picks Subaru up and throws him into like a thing of spikes, just like, all right, we gotta start over. Like starts like yeeting Subaru and Subaru's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like
this gets even more interesting when you also take into account the fact that even just saying this time did not get the witch to smite him for his insolence. Like she just let that slip, whoever is keeping watch, whichever witch that happens to be.
She's let certain things like that slip too in the past.
Yeah, because I think it's more about his intention. Like if he's like trying to tell them, like, I think she's doing it very meticulously. Like
I definitely think it probably is like an intent thing where like she comes when she can like sense his intent to tell somebody, but when he's just kind of like lets it slip, she's just like, oh fuck, there was no way I could have caught that one.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it might also be that I don't know that Rosewall is not on the witch's side.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that he's on the Witch of Envy's side, but he may be on the Witch of Greed's side.
He definitely respects the witches because, like, in one of those first conversations, he was like, refer to her as this name. Like he definitely has. Yeah. He's speaking in a way that reminds me of people that have like really interesting like anime opinions or like some obscure weird opinion, and they're just kind of like, but they never talk about it. And so the time that it gets brought up, he's just like, well, actually, like just in casual conversation, just like shifts it like. I don't know. I lost the metaphor there, but he reminds me of some cool shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I lost my words.
No, you good. So Rosewall sends Subaru back to Arlem, and to inform the villagers that their families are safe, and he also sends Rom with him.
Because Subaru is useless.
Because Subaru is useless, yeah. And so Subaru kind of makes a comment about while he's talking with Garfield about throwing Rom as a decoy.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of irks her. And another thing that kind of changed from the last time around, Subaru has to push to get the crystal thing from Garf. And in the end, it's actually Rom that manages to get it out of him. Where
in typical Rom fashion.
Yeah.
Like, well, you like me, don't you? Just give me the thing.
Yeah. Are you really gonna send the woman you love away without like a gift? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, dude, don't be a dick. Give her the damn necklace.
She's so cold, and I love it.
Yeah, and man, like, anybody who's like, fuck Rom, it's all about Rem. I'm like, look, Rem is great and all, but Rom is awesome.
Rom is fucking fantastic.
Um, so,
I think
Right.
that scene there, right? It's not that she's like upset, she's unquieted by what Subaru says. Right?
Yeah.
He talks about using her as a decoy. It's not that she's just like, oh, that's don't use me as a decoy. That's rude. She remembers something, or she remembers remembering something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the
Like,
cracks in the universe are starting to leak a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like she's starting.
And
to
maybe that has
remember-
to do something with her and Roswell's like relationship.
yeah. Like, so,
maybe.
like, when they're on their journey back on Patarasu, the ground dragon, Rom brings up the throwing as a decoy thing, saying that it bothered her more than she was expecting, almost as if it had actually happened before. And so, yeah, like, I think that's a good hypothesis, and that, like, maybe there's a connection there between, like, Rom and Rosewall. But I also think that, like, it could very well be possible that, like, Subaru has just been around long enough and has been miraculously succeeding long enough that people are starting to be like, who the fuck is this kid? And how does he keep perfectly making everything work out?
Maybe. I think maybe it's, I mean, is it possible that, so his dying and coming back is maybe having some effect, like there's some lingering
Temporal bleed.
trace of his past deeds or misdeeds that are starting to bleed through. Like, the more and more he comes back, the fuzzier the line gets between the worlds, or between the iterations, maybe. Like, it's, I don't know.
So
maybe he's starting to break the time-space continuum here.
something that so I've been going back and I've been reading the ReZero light novels, and I think I'm on volume 6 or something like that. Basically where I'm at right now is it's in the arc where it's the white whale arc. And so Subaru right now, his mind is broken. That's what just happened.
Okay.
And he's like a vegetable, and Rem is gonna take him back to the mansion. And the light novel offered some more context to that, which I thought was really, really interesting. In that, in the anime, it seemed like kind of all the information we were given was that all of a sudden Subaru broke, and then they had Felix look at him, and he was like, "Nope, he's gone. I can't do anything to help." And Rem was all sad about it. But we actually get a lot more of kind of Rem's internal thoughts in the light novel. And one of the things that I thought was really, really interesting was that Rem actually notes that Subaru was talking with the frickin' Apple seller and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, she sensed the witch's scent on Subaru all of a sudden get way stronger. And then Subaru collapsed. So, even Rem is in a place where she's starting to be able to put kind of 2 and 2 together. Like, we've always, like, everybody at the Rosewall Mansion seems to know about the witch's scent on Subaru, but Rem has at least put 2 and 2 together that, like, these weird happenings with Subaru where, like, he either starts to act weird or he's able to, like, pull off some amazing feat all have something to do with the witch's scent, and that it's really negatively affecting him somehow. So I guess it was just kind of interesting because seeing now with the context of this current episode, how people are now even starting to put two and two together, going like, hey, I feel like I remember this, or like, oh, this time you say, where like kind of seeing even further back in the light novel, people were already starting to kind of put the pieces together, and now they're just like really starting to put the pieces together.
And I wonder if being in the barrier has anything to do with
Mm-hmm.
maybe some of those cracks.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
wonder. I also wonder what will happen when, because I think it is a when at this point, when the rest of the gang starts to figure it out.
I
Like,
think if I had to make a prediction on that, because I was thinking about that too. If I had to make a prediction on that, I feel like it is possible that people will figure it out before the end of the show. However, I feel like that's kind of like the perfect setup to a big cathartic scene at the very, very end of the series where Subaru is finally able to express to Amelia all the things that he's experienced and how much he's fought for her, how much she means to him, and how much she's done for him in
Yeah.
all of these lives that she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And I have a like a big cathartic scene where like to kind of like play off of that really like gut-wrenching scene in season 1 where Subaru's like, you have no idea how hard I've worked for you, like you owe me, blah 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 blah, and Emilia's like, I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know this person, I don't, like it'll be kind of like a really cathartic like mirror of that where he's finally able to explain himself to Amelia, and Amelia can say, I understand.
that would be
Yes,
nice.
once he's free of the witch's influence. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
how this.
I think
The
that's how
series
that
ends,
ends
right?
too.
Yeah.
The big thing is, people know that he's supposed to be useless, but he keeps coming out on top somehow, some way. Maybe they'll at last figure out, like, hey, it's not just the fact that he's, gotten exceptionally lucky,
Mhm.
or learned how to create some kind of like shadow or whatever with his Kurt powers to make things just work. There's actually something a bit more
Mhm.
uh, delicate going on that's making things happen.
I
It's not just him.
hesitate to call it divine intervention, but something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to get to the part with the
Yeah.
mansion?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
mansion.
Oh yeah.
so yeah, they now before they get to the mansion, Subaru brings up one other important thing. He tells Rom about Rem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Subaru and Rom return to the mansion, and thankfully they are greeted by a living and adorable Petra. And Frederica is out, so Rom and Subaru go to visit Rem. Rom asks to be left alone with Rem, and then Frederica returns. So we get a confirmation that from Subaru, that Frederica and Garfield are in fact related.
Siblings.
Yep. And then he begins to question her about being teleported once going through the barrier. And he's like super sure of it. He's like, you need to explain yourself. And she's like, what are you talking about? So, and so she denies the accusation. And I don't know about you guys, but it wasn't super clear to me what the truth was. If she was like genuinely like didn't know, or if she was just really good at denying it.
I
was
think it was a
very
lie, considering
Mhm.
how much that she had to conceal, because she has this oath that she can't break. I think it was a lie. I think it was deflection.
Okay. What about you,
I
Katie?
mean,
You see, I'm still kind of confused a little bit. Maybe this is just me on what exactly she's lying about. It's about her going through the barrier?
They all we know is that um
Like, what is he accusing her
Subaru
of again? Because it was kind of unclear to me in that
so
moment,
so
maybe.
Subaru got transported.
Yes.
And so he thinks that she has something to do with the teleportation.
From his world.
from his no, the teleportation from the carriage to go talk with the Witch of Greed.
Oh, okay.
And so they're also thinking because she wasn't forthcoming about everything that was going to happen when he went through the barrier, that she's planning something. Like, why come back to the Rosewall Mansion right now? Like, you know, what's she playing at? You know, and then there's this whole thing with the, you know, obviously she has this connection with the sanctuary, so what's she playing at is basically what everybody's kind of asking. And so Subaru is going in.
He accuses her of.
Go ahead.
He accuses her of being part of this other faction. Right,
Yeah.
that's trying to like keep the sanctuary barrier intact.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because I haven't been paying as much attention to her. Like, because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the show. A few things slipped in the cracks for me, and she was one of them. So I guess I don't have a full opinion there yet, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I mean, she's a pretty mysterious character. Like, we really don't know much about her.
No, yeah, like the other characters I feel like have had a lot more defining moments. She's had moments, but like she's definitely slipped through the cracks for me in terms of what I know about her.
Mm-hmm.
She does turn into a big golden wolf at the end of this episode. So
yes, she does do that.
She does in fact do that. Also, can we appreciate? So, like, I remember when I was talking about how, like, I thought it was really interesting that Frederica talks, very like soft and refined, despite like her sharp teeth and like her whole character design.
Yes.
In opposition to her brother.
Yeah, I fucking loved when Rom showed up and they just started squaring off verbally.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, she's an adorable character.
So, but in any case, Frederica denies the accusations, but she agrees to go to the sanctuary of her own free will, as apparently she has to be coerced in order to break her oath. So, and yeah, apparently going to the sanctuary counts as coercion? I don't know.
I guess, I don't know. Like, Mom is basically, she tells Subaru, hey, sit down. You don't know what's going on, do you? You have no idea what you're talking about. Just sit down and let me handle this. And she's like, she wants, I think the indication that Rom is giving us is that Frederica wants to tell them things. She wants to be helpful, but she can't because of this oath, maybe?
Yeah. That was kind of the vibe that I got too.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem like an evil character.
No,
like,
she doesn't.
She takes care of Petra. You know, she's looking after the manor, I guess. Like,
she doesn't seem evil.
Yeah, and that's kind of even further reinforced in some of her actions later on in the episode, because then Elsa arrives. And she's threatening Petra. And they manage to get away for the moment, but they're wounded. Frederica's pretty seriously wounded. Subaru gets a fucking spike to his shoulder. Which I guess for Subaru is at this point is kind of a cakewalk.
Yeah.
Well, I like how he gets one spike and they make such a big deal out of it, and then Frederica gets like 8 to her back, and then she just kind of, you know, it's only a
yeah, Frederica, you don't fuck with that bitch.
Yeah, I mean she's not exactly human. So Subaru is of course instantly worried about Rem and Beatrice. But Rom is like, nah, we're gonna leave him. And Subaru's like livid with Rom. He's like, I can't believe you'd say this. Like, I did not go and tell you about Rem just for you to say that. But both Frederica and Petra come to his aid, and they're like, no, we have to save him. Which makes me think that, like, Frederica really isn't evil, right? Because she is really hell-bent on making sure that Beatrice and Rem are okay. And, like, she doesn't even remember who Rem is, yet she wants to protect her. So, like, how would she even, without any knowledge of her, how could she think that she was, like, useful in any way to either side.
Like, I don't get a vibe that she's evil, but I could get a vibe that she's trying to protect something, or like maybe she has an allegiance that she can't break, and so some of those actions aren't necessarily for her out of the goodness of her heart, but in terms of, we need these people alive. You are going to make sure that you use your life to make sure these people are alive because they're a part of my plan.
Right. Yeah.
So there
Yeah,
is
maybe.
potential for that. Like, maybe with, I mean, but whoever would make something like that, thinking that Frederica is more powerful than Beatrice in terms of protecting herself, like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know too much about Beatrice, but I think Beatrice can fucking protect her goddamn self. Like,
Yeah.
So it would more have to be like Rom or Rem, and so whoever would do that would be more in the mindset of Frederica would need to do something to protect Rom or something. But I don't know if Rom is stronger than her. So yeah, that's just one theory.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Beatrice was about to go head to head with Rosewall, like, back in season 1.
Yeah.
Like, in order to protect Subaru. So, like, yeah, I feel like she's got some oomph to her.
Yeah. So yeah, there's
Don't
more.
mess with her.
It's more likely that she's protecting them out of her own volition, because whoever would be like, hey, you got to make sure these people are alive, would probably realize that Beatrice is super strong on her own, and that and that Rem can probably take care of herself. Like, so yeah.
Well, it's
Because
interesting
if the
that
mission
they
was to
wanna
protect
go in and
Subaru,
save-
she'd be like, let's leave.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if Subaru is the only pawn in that game.
Because
then-
Subaru is the only one that I could see, like, if he was in danger, someone having an vested interest in keeping him alive for study purposes, or
Yeah.
lots of purposes.
Yeah.
That magic power of his to always come out on top is pretty handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to me that they were going in to save both Rem and Beatrice. I was under the impression that, like, there was one time, I think Subaru, he asks Beatrice if she'll, like, leave the mansion or something, and I thought she said, like, she can't, like, she's tied to the manor or something.
She is, her power is tied to the manor, and it's not entirely clear, I think, how far she can go. But she has left the mansion before, obviously. Like, she went and found Subaru when he, like, went and committed suicide on the cliff.
Yeah.
That's true.
She also went and, like, was involved in, like, getting the barrier set back up and, like, healing Subaru after the mob beasts attacked in the village.
Yeah, that's true.
so
So
it's-
she can't
so-
physically leave, but
She can physically leave the mansion proper, at least.
Yeah.
at least to a certain distance, anyway.
Yeah, at least to a certain distance, but it has been established that the further away she gets from the mansion, and I think the further away she gets from the Forbidden Library, I believe,
Mhm.
the weaker and weaker her powers become.
Mm-hmm.
She's not
So-
quite a genie, but
Yeah.
she kind of has a lamp.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but it does make sense that she would be kind of tied to the manor in some way, because apparently she is the great spirit of the library or whatever. So she's a spirit. Usually spirits haunt things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, because Frederica and Petra come to his aid, they just decide, all right, like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go try to save him. And yeah. Oh, there's also a moment that I thought was really interesting, which I didn't know if it was, like, a meaningful thing or if it was just, like, a light jab. But apparently, Frederica also told Petra that she was more useful than Rom. Like, Petra, as the new hire, was more useful than Rom. And, like, I definitely thought that would just be like a lighthearted jab, but, like, Rom seemed to take that really seriously.
Mm.
So I don't know
Yeah.
what that was about, if that was really just simply designed to be a jab, or if that's supposed to be kind of like foreshadowing something.
Well, I think
Mhm.
when we first get to the manor in, like, season 1, isn't it like Rem does pretty much everything,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And Ram is, like, worse at everything, and they go into, like, this backstory of how all that happened and the whole demon horns thing and yada yada. But, like, at initial onset, right? Ram is the useless one.
Rom was bad at like the chores and things.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could. So there's a high possibility it's just a jab at Ram being bad at doing like maidly duties, but it's good at the real important shit. But maybe Petra is has more of an affinity towards that stuff.
Yeah. So I guess it'll be interesting to see, because that definitely seemed to kind of cut Rom a little bit more. And honestly, like, I would not mind digging into Rom more as a character. I'd fucking love
Oh
her.
yeah, definitely.
I'd love to see more of her and get kind of more into her head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they have then Frederica turns into a freaking beast lion thing.
That keeps her same voice and just opens her mouth and it just comes out.
Yeah, I mean,
telepathically.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
telepathy is a very nice skill to have.
I mean, just like welcome to basically every talking animal character ever in anime, right? Like they just open their mouth and they just talk.
Except Puck.
Puck is a spirit. That's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to animate his mouth because it's like more like forward facing, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a thing. And it maybe seems to be tied to the crystals that both her and Garf have, because they like it glows when she does her transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I believe she mentioned it as an amplifier, so it would make sense that it would respond when she's using her powers of some kind.
Okay, that's good to know. I guess I didn't catch that part.
It also means Garf has a dog form too, which will be fun to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not necessarily a dog form, but he can at least transform into a beast-like shape.
Well, dog, lion, wolf, whatever. Yeah, beast.
Yeah. So Frederica runs off to try to find Beatrice, while Subaru, Rom, and Petra go to try to find Rem. And there's a maw beast in the mansion.
Yep.
It's a freaking manticore-looking thing.
Yeah.
How did that get here, huh? Like, they don't just show up.
Well,
yeah. So, Rom uses herself as a decoy to lure the maw beast away from Subaru and Petra.
Foreshadowing, perhaps?
Petra is a fucking trooper and pulls a spike out of Subaru's shoulder. And there's this really kind of cute moment where they like use each other's like handkerchiefs to patch each other up. Then like just as they're like, all right, like as Subaru's like praising her and he's like, oh man, like you're so strong, Petra, like I need to be more like you. And then the fucking ceiling collapses on them.
Yeah, I was like, that whole scene, as cute as that was, I was like, guys, your monster friend is currently dying to the evil assassin. You don't know where Rom is. You're wasting time here.
Yeah.
I mean, give them a minute to like patch themselves up, like they're hurt.
Patch themselves up, then fucking run. Don't just stand there.
Yeah. They spent way too long talking and being like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're so strong. I wish I could be. Yeah, you're really great too. And here, let me put this bandage on you." And we're like, "Yeah, good job, guys. All right, you ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready." Oh my god.
This is fair, but they paid the price because the ceiling collapsed on them.
It's almost like fighting the villain 1v1 was a bad idea, and maybe they should have teamed up.
Yeah, so the ceiling collapses, and then there's like this whole like montage sequence where it seems like Rom tries to get Subaru out, but boy does that fail. Like he goes flying back into the mansion like through a window. It seems pretty clear that Patarashu died. That also Rom is dead, Petra's dead.
Yeah, he's just holding her hand, I think. It's hard to see because it's all blurry, but
it's her arm.
There's not much left of her.
Yeah.
And then Subaru comes face to face with Elsa, and Elsa confirms that Frederica is dead. So everybody's dead.
Yep.
Key, Subaru's about to die again vibes.
I remember
Except,
Katie and I were watching the episode together, and
Yeah.
as we were like kind of like watching this stuff unfold, like we were kind of sitting there being like, yeah, he's not making it out of this one, is he? Like,
No.
he's gonna
This
have another
one's
go
not
around.
ending well.
Yeah.
Get the end, like when his eyes are going red, it's like, yeah, the boy's not gonna.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, when he was having his last moments there, I was honestly excited when he started asking her a few little questions because he was already kind of getting in that mindset of like, all right, we're gonna start over. Let's see what I can get. I wish he would have pushed that further. Like, I wish he would have just taken that moment because he ended up, I think, saying like, well, even if I can't protect her, I'm going to, I'm going to go out trying to, like, protect Rem. I wish he would have in that moment done more of like trying to get information and like been like provoked her a little bit so we could get like a little bit
Well,
of something
does
there. He does it a little bit,
He
but
does kind of
like,
try because like we learned that this attack was supposed to be timed to Subaru's return, but since
yes.
he returned early, the plan was thrown off somewhat. It was supposed to be quote unquote 2 maids and a shut-in.
Mm-hmm.
2 maids and a hikikomori.
Yeah.
So Elsa also says something kind of interesting. She says, I don't want Meili taking any more credit from me. My question for that is, who the fuck is Meili?
Yeah.
to be answered the next time Subaru comes back from the dead.
But surprise, he survived.
Yeah, so Subaru decides that this world is fucked. He's not gonna make it out this time, which is fair. I also came to the same conclusion.
It's fair.
And so he's given up on this world.
He's getting ready.
He decides that he's going to use every last ounce of strength to try to protect Rem, which I think is really noble, even though he knows he's lost and he's going to have to do this again. He's just like, I'm going to do everything in my power not to give you the satisfaction to fucking hurt Rem. Until he opens Rem's door and finds himself in Beatrice's library.
Mm-hmm.
Safe from Elsa, and now Elsa has a direct line to Rem, with him not standing in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like that would really matter, to be quite honest.
Yeah, but now Subaru's like, fuck, I gotta go kill my heckin' self, but we're probably gonna get some information first before that happens.
Yup. So,
because I very much think he's gonna plunge himself off another cliff or something. Like,
yeah, no, I definitely think that. I will say I do think it was kind of an interesting like subversion of my expectations, because like the show really has kind of trained us to think that like in these situations like it really is hopeless, and it's just like, all right, time to die again, Subaru. Right?
Get it over with and reset.
But like, no, like that was taken from him this time.
Yeah.
For a little.
For the moment.
For the moment.
I don't think Beatrice would have too many reservations about offing him. She's threatened to do it plenty of times before.
See, you say that.
Yeah.
But I've seen the preview for the next episode.
And
I didn't watch that.
I'll just say that you need to remember that Beatrice has a little tsundere in her.
Oh, definitely.
Beatrice really cares a lot about Subaru. Like the number of times where she's said things along the lines of "at least die where I can't see you," or she's put her own life on the line to protect him, despite really not having any reason to. Like she made the contract with him way back when to like protect him, but that was just to get him through a certain number of nights. But after that was over, that contract was null and void, and she still chose to protect him. So,
true.
I think Beatrice cares.
Yeah, I think so. And if she killed him, it would be with love.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
And maybe somewhere where she didn't have to see. But.
Yeah, well, here's hoping.
All I can say is, like, the way that they do the previews for this show is really strange. Basically, for the preview, they just have like voiceover where the characters are talking over like footage from the episode. And I read a translation of the dialogue that's being spoken, and it's Elsa and Petra and Subaru going back and forth, and it's basically Elsa and Petra bonding over a bowel hunting version of fucking Animal Crossing.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
like they're just going back and forth. Elsa's talking about like, oh, like I'll send you an invite to my bowel hunting island.
Oh my god.
Like, and Petra's like, oh, I'm so excited, and Subaru's like, no, Petra, don't give in.
I know.
It's really really weird, and it's such like it's so disjointed from the footage that's being played over it because, my god, all I can say is whenever we get back to Subaru and Beatrice in the library, it's gonna be fucking intense.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be really intense, and I'm really excited.
definitely. Well, dudes, I think was there anything else about the episode?
I think we gotta. I don't know unless anybody has anything else to say about the episode. Otherwise, we might just move on into predictions.
I think we're good for predictions.
All right.
We are good.
Well, you, Mr. Martinez, there in the chat. Sorry to hear you're late. We're just wrapping up.
Yep. All right. My prediction is that Beatrice is going to say something really cool, and I'm going to be like, "Oh shit!"
I think Subaru might ask Beatrice the question before he dies.
Oh, that's right.
The question.
I forgot about that. Yep.
Yep.
You're good on you, Ian.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. Good job.
And then he's gonna die.
It's just a matter of how long into the episode is he going to die? Are they going to spend some time there and then they'll end it on the death, or?
Yeah,
who does the killing? You know, is
I
it a
predict
manticore looking thing?
I predict something groundbreaking. I think Subaru is going to kill himself.
What? No.
Nah.
I'm almost surprised he doesn't have like what is it, like their equivalent of nightshade in his pocket for like on terrible occasions. I mean, I guess if it was found in his pocket, that would be a really bad sign. But like if I just want a quick death, I would just like eat some of those leaves, keel over dead.
He just needs a little hidden tooth kind of thing with some cyanide and.
I also predict. I also predict that I think that this next episode will probably contain one of my favorite Beatrice scenes ever.
Ooh.
Because you know me, I love me some Beatrice. She is best girl. I love her with all my heart. And I've just, ever since she was introduced, I'm like, her. I want to know more about her.
She's pretty good.
Like, and so I'm really excited at the prospect of getting to know a little bit more about her. And also, you know, if Subaru tries to do something drastic in front of her, like, you know, I don't know, kill himself, like, what kind of honesty that might drag out of Beatrice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shit.
So,
well, yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely not surviving this time around. It's just been delayed.
God, no.
So,
Subaru would get to a checkpoint without repeatedly dying? No way.
Well,
no,
I think
can't happen.
Like, you know what this struck me as, right? This time around for Subaru. This time around for Subaru really struck me as, like, you know, he was getting all these perks. His first time around, where, like, you know, Garf is like handing him the crystal of his own volition, like he's bonding well with Amelia, and you know, all this stuff. And so then Subaru took the things that he learned from that time around, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna try something a little different. And he got like a worse route than the first time. Like if it was a
Yep.
visual novel,
Wildly different.
it was not just wildly different. Like he got the bad route this time, where like nothing went right. Like he alienated himself from Amelia. Garth wouldn't agree with him or give him shit. And then like he goes to the mansion and gets everybody killed earlier.
I mean,
So-
that's kind of the risk with taking an unknown route, and he doesn't really have a choice. He has to kind of explore and see like what events will lead to X, cause reaction. He needs to figure out which combination he's not only willing to live with will also give him a decent result.
Yeah.
There's some research gathering involved in some of his attempts here. Like we learned about a new element, right? Just like the time the whale, where he totally forgot about, like Rem mentioned, oh yeah, by the way, we can't go that way because there's a giant evil whale, and he's like, how bad could that be?
Answer
Whoops.
very.
Answer real bad.
Yeah.
This time he didn't know about this manticore looking critter. Like that's new.
Yeah. So like I definitely think that he's learned some valuable lessons from this time around, but yeah, like it was definitely like I was just getting the vibes where I'm like pretty much right off the bat from the moment that like he alienated himself from Amelia, I was like, ooh, this is the bad route. He's not doing good on this one. So
There
yeah.
is kind of a pattern of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time he goes back to the mansion, everything is bad, and then the second time he gets Rem killed horribly, and then frickin' Puck just like speaks his head off, which is still one of like the best scenes in this show.
Mhm.
Just like it's already so bad, and you're just like kind of traumatized at that point from the horrificness of the scene before it. And then a giant wolf pops out of the castle, and you're just like, oh, all right, you know what? I can't even deal with this right now.
Yeah,
Just get
yeah.
it over with.
just kill me. Just kill me now. Everything has gone so horribly awry.
I
Well,
don't
heck
even
yeah.
want to know what's going on. Just
Yeah. Well, I think we did it, guys. I think we did ourselves a podcast.
I think we managed to get through another episode without you blowing out your vocal cords yelling about SAO.
Yeah, instead
not
I'm
too
gonna
much.
instead I'm gonna blow out my vocal cords thanks to auditions. Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
I mean, I appreciate the audition, but it's going to hurt me.
It's gonna be fun for me too. Maybe we'll both get it.
Hell yeah. But
Well,
anyways,
where can they
thank
find you,
guys.
Brian?
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. I did see some stuff going on in the chat. I
Oh.
don't think this person is here anymore. I would like to once again remind everybody that I actually enjoy watching SAO. It's just, I just enjoy it for maybe slightly different reasons. But no, SAO is a very fun show to watch, and if any of you guys out there actually enjoy SAO, unironically, like you really like it and you think it's a good show, more power to you. I'm really glad that you like it. I'm glad you have fun with it. I encourage that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. We will be
where
back
can
at
they
the same
find you,
time. We will be back
Brian?
at the same time next week. I will answer that when I'm damn well ready.
No,
Katie.
I want you to answer now. I want to know where to find you. Where are you? You're lost.
Stop ignoring the question.
You can find me. I'm in the KRWBY Productions Discord server at Hubbard Audio. I think I also have a Twitter that I sometimes use, which I believe is also at Hubbard Audio.
It is.
So yeah. In any case, that's me. Where can they find you, Ian?
You can find me. I am at Ventress on both Twitter and Discord, if I recall properly. And
If I don't fully become a robot, feel free to message me there.
Hell yeah. Hey, Forrest, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me right here on this here podcast next week.
Hell yeah. Katie, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter, Connie Day Official, KNIDAY Official. That's the only important place to find me. Find me there. Yay!
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been fun. We'll see you next week. Bye!
Goodbye.